Hello, everybody, and welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around Fantasy Premier League. My name's Suj,
And my name is James.
and let's timestamp it so everybody knows it's Monday morning. So we are almost, but not quite, at the end of game week 33. Plus, we still have one more game to go. Spurs Everton, which is this evening, but we're recording our full wrap up of game week 33 with a little bit that will be left over. And then we'll be going through the teams and everything. James, how are we doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Spurs did play, so I've had a pretty good weekend.
Yes, this will be a 10-minute podcast, which will make a nice change.
Well, we can say with certainty it won't be 1 hour and 50 minutes, because there's no rant coming in the middle of this, I don't think.
I almost tweeted, but I didn't tweet, a link to another famous Tottenham YouTuber. For all the people that said that your rant wasn't long enough, I was just going to send them a link to Expressions Oozing, fam.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
He's a different kind, old Expressions.
Oh my God. So I was like, if you want a full 20 minutes, fam, you can go there, fam, and listen to him, fam. But yeah, so no Tottenham game today to be discussed. But we're now, 5 game weeks until the end of the season. How was your game week? Or how is your game week, I should say, because it's not done yet. Heung-min Son's hat-trick tonight is going to transform your game week, right?
I'm on 55 points with Heung-min Son to go tonight, so I'm all out on 57.
We'll see. I'm not so convinced.
Yeah, it's not the worst week. Not the worst week. It was a shame Trent missed out on bonus with the late Liverpool goal yesterday. I'm told that he was on for at least 2 before the final goal went in.
Just watch those go up in smoke in the last 10 minutes.
Although neither Curtis Jones or Mohamed Salah are in the bonus either, so I don't quite understand the correlation of the second goal. You know me, I don't look at the bonus during games anymore. It's way too annoying for that exact reason. Yeah, all right. I captain Trent, clean sheet. Robertson, who's still drunk, 5-pointer. Bruno, 15-pointer. Mason Greenwood, my goodness. What a player. I spent the whole of that game asking myself if he was really still 18.
Speech almost like the way he kicks a foot, how all of his goals, just the ferocity of shot is scary. Like when he hits the football, it stays hit.
He shoots like Van Persie.
Ouch,
That second goal, I spoke about this a little bit last week in terms of the players are saying they don't really know what's his left or his right, and he clearly does favour his left a little bit. But the technique on his second goal, on his right peg, where he cleanly hits through the ball at an angle going away from goal, and watch the way both his feet come off the floor afterwards, he's so Van Persie. And Van Persie was one of the best clean strikers of football I've seen. Yeah. He spent half his career injured, but I mean, you know what he was like at the final period at Arsenal, and then the first great season at United was devastating. You always felt against him that if he had that sight of goal, he would score. And that's how I already feel that with this kid.
Yeah, there's no debate on the right-hand side for Manchester United now about Dan James and Mason Greenwood. And I'm just gutted in a way that I'm going to have to sacrifice Martial for Mason Greenwood, just because I know Martial's going to come back and bite me in the bum, but we'll talk about that. So okay. 55, I mean, is that a red arrow or a green arrow, James?
Yeah, red. I've dropped about 40,000 places.
And there's only 3 or 4 points between us at the moment. I think it might be 3 from memory. So you need the Sun return to maintain the lead. Otherwise, I'll have crept ahead. But 1 point between us after 33 game weeks. We're both at around 260k.
Averages are going to remain quite high, I think, in oncoming game weeks. I think people might have thought, the chips are being used at the start. It will calm down. There's a couple of reasons why it's going to stay high. One, every single week, people are launching chips. at the moment, be it a free hit, a bench boost, wild cards, there's chips getting, and that's going to continue right to the end. So the average players playing per week is always going to be over 9. I mean, that's always the case anyway. But at the moment, there's going to be weeks where it approaches near 10, I think. And the scoring.
Just explain what you mean by that. The average number of players playing.
Well, people were bench boosting. We've got. Oh, sorry. Why did I say fucking 9? What an idiot!
I was confused for a minute there, and I was like, "Stick with James because there's logic in what he's talking about."
No, there's no logic on that. Yeah, scores will be higher. Every average player played is 9. No. Fucking, what am I doing? No, I meant 11, obviously. Yeah. So with bench boosters, there's going to be some weeks where you're getting up to sort of average of 11.5 playing. More to the point is as well, because of people like Greenwood, every single player is gettable quite easy.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And you've got Greenwood, Martial, Fernandes, Rashford, Salah, Mane, the Liverpool guys defensively. The City guys had a quiet week, right? You know, that's with their fixture list not going to last very long. Then you've still got the alternative assets of like the Aubameyang, Kane, Son, etc. The Chelsea boy, Pulisic is so easy to get. You can Wolves, and again they had a bad weekend. These guys are so gettable that scores are going to remain really high.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you, and. We're all bunched into the handful of teams that are performing well at the moment. I'm on 69. I'm out on 69. Sorry, I haven't got any more players to play. So I'm quite happy with that score. Obviously, the captaincy made a big difference. In the end, the umming and ahhing between Martial and Fernandes was a difference of 2 points. It didn't really make a difference because of the assists that were given to Martial towards the end of the game. But Bruno Fernandes, 30 points, Martial 14, made up so many of my points. Pulisic still chipping in returns with 6, and then Trent and Robbo. Everybody else blank for me. I mean, we all got slapped by Kevin De Bruyne's blank. Wolves, surprisingly, maybe didn't perform against Arsenal, but I don't think that's any indication of what's to come from them. Yeah, and there we go. I mean, it was what it was. So I'm happy with 69. It keeps a very consistent scoring for me of around 70 to 80 points ever since the restart, and 4 captaincy returns in a row. Bruno 2 in a row, 30 and 30, plus Jimenez the week before was only 18, but I say only 18. And then the week before that, Kevin De Bruyne obviously tore it up for a lot of us. So I'm happy with that. And I'm pretty confident going into the coming weeks about how I'm going to set myself up for my bench boost. Although, just for fun, I thought I'd put my bench boost plan out on Twitter yesterday, and majority of people said don't do it. Not that I agree, but
bad idea.
I'm not gonna. My one mistake was when I put my transfer strategy out on Twitter for people to have a little fun vote on. I didn't specify that I'm going for a bench boost because at the moment, Martial, Pulisic, and then Nketiah. I had to have a DM conversation with Adam Pritchard at 35Who about the pronunciation, and he's helped me. And Nketiah is on his way out to bring in Greenwood, Bowen, and Mahrez. And people like Martial and Pulisic are doing well right now. To replace them with Bowen and Mahrez doesn't seem sensible, but then Nketiah to Greenwood does. And this is for a bench boost, right? I'm going to have to try and get some decent players on that bench. At the moment, Nketiah and Lascelles isn't really...
Who's your other forwards?
So I've got Jimenez and Jesus Christ Superstar.
Well, that's what people would say, innit? Just go Jesus Christ Superstar to Nketiah and you can keep everything else.
Well, Jesus Christ to Greenwood, you mean?
Yeah, to Greenwood, to partner and Nketiah. Yeah.
I'm not selling him between now and the end of the season. I know it might come across as a little bit of stubbornness. I think he's still mobile, getting about. It was a tough game for Manchester City yesterday. Very tough game, and we'll talk about it in the rundown. Like from about minute 25, minute 30, all I kept saying, looking at the screen, was Southampton can't keep this up for 90 minutes. They can't keep this up for 90 minutes. They can't keep this intensity for 90 minutes. And the longer it went on, I was like, these guys are going to be dead at the end of the game because they put in one of biggest shifts I think I've seen in a long time in terms of work rate and closing down from front to back. But that's a testament to why Jesus didn't get as many chances as he might have done. And it's coming for him. So I'm not going to sell him between now and the end of the season with the fixtures that they have. So there we go.
Jesus is definitely not off my radar either, actually. I was saying this on our Slack channel last night, that at least he was involved. I felt like he created space for others against Liverpool, which is going to be frustrating for you as a fantasy manager. Last night he had chances that didn't go in. I mean, but everybody had chances and they didn't go in. It was as much as Southampton put the work rate in, right? You could play that game over exactly again 10 times and City win 3 or 4-0, right? And, you know, that's how it was really. And I think there's too much question on Jesus' confidence at the moment, which I think actually means Guardiola's going to keep playing him. And in one of these games, he's going to batter someone. I agree with you.
You saw it with Vardy, right? As soon as the first goal went in, suddenly, and I know the second goal that Vardy scored was late ons when there's space for him to run in behind. But that second goal that Vardy scored was classic Jamie Vardy, running in behind the defence, one-on-one with the keeper, cool, calm, collected finish. Had he not scored the first goal, I don't know if he'd had the confidence to take the second one in the way he had. It's the same with Jesus. If he scores one, I reckon 2 or 3 will follow very quickly after. So I'm not selling Jesus, I'm afraid. I'm sticking with him, and I'll probably stick with him until the end of the season now.
You can't play in that team and not score goals.
Yeah. They're too good.
Can't not.
Yeah.
Because the chances will keep coming. See, same with Vardy. This is a good comparison, this, right? Because Leicester have struggled. And let's be honest, that first goal comes from Sacco slipping over in his own box, right? And then that's exactly what you said. The luck's changed. The chances will keep coming for Jesus. All he's got to do is stay between the penalty area space, right? And they'll keep coming. Can I ask you, do you know your captain is this week?
No.
Oh, it's so clear in my mind.
Kevin De Bruyne.
All day long, mate.
I think if you ask me right now, Kevin De Bruyne, I mean, he's had a little rest, and Newcastle are stubborn buggers. That's the only thing I would say. Newcastle are stubborn buggers. But I think one of the things for Man City that really helps, and it helps, we saw it in the Liverpool game, is getting an early goal. Once they get an early goal, then suddenly it's like, here we go. We can just relax a bit and play our natural game. They were chasing a little bit yesterday, especially in the second half of the first half. They were playing good football, getting in and around the box. Sterling had that chance. Like, everybody had chances. But there was that edge of desperation that we want to get the first goal back. And when they don't have that edge of desperation, obviously it's much easier to play football when you're relaxed than when you're not. So if they get an early goal against Newcastle, then we could see the floodgates open. But yeah, I mean, it's highly likely that it'll be Kevin De Bruyne this week.
Yeah, I mean, lock that in for me now. Not a question.
Yeah. Should we run down some of the games?
Let's do that, sir.
First game up, Norwich 0, Brighton 1, and we said it. I said it maybe that I thought if Brighton win, Norwich don't. Norwich are down, Brighton are safe. With everybody else losing, apart from West Ham, you'd say Brighton are safe now.
Yeah, Brighton are safe. The bottom 4. I mean, Norwich. I've got to win every game to hit 36. The bottom 4, none of them are getting to 36, mate.
Not with these guys. They've got Liverpool and City. A couple of them have got Liverpool and City as their next 2 games up. So not looking likely at all.
That's Brighton's next 2, isn't it?
Oh, sorry, that's Brighton's next 2. But who else has to play Liverpool and City still? It's Bournemouth, is it?
Well, Villa have just played Liverpool. Got to play United. Bournemouth have still got to play City.
It's tough for these guys. You just don't see where the points are going to come from. So yeah. Brighton back to what you'd call full strength with Mopé, Trossard, Aaron Moy, Gross in, and in the end, I mean, why do you think Pukki and Cantwell were benched?
I kind of want to...
Pukki I can understand, because Pukki hasn't been in form, but Cantwell's that high energy, he's played well, did well in the FA Cup, and doesn't it just send out that white flag signal to the opposition that we've given up here?
I think I kind of want to skim over Norwich because we've got FPL Badger on Clash of the Correspondents tomorrow. Yeah. We'll obviously do a lot of detail there. But I think, and this is the only thing I can think, that using Pookie and Cantwell in this fixture, like he did against Everton, to try and win the game late in the game and keep momentum up. Because actually, if you think about it, they have actually started games not too badly and then have been tailing off. So to give them that energising lift at the end. But would I rather have these guys in my team for 25 minutes or 70 minutes? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And I'd be interested to see what Mark says tomorrow, because I bet he's raging about it, really. And even though I said Pookie looks really out of sorts, I certainly wouldn't be leaving Cantwell out, by the way, at the moment. He's the most capable player in that team to score, actually. I think at the moment, even more so than Pookie.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. On Brighton, 4-2-2-2, look good. That's how I feel with them. With them, they have two systems which I think are really good and work for them. One is a back five, which they haven't used for quite a while. And the other one is this 4-2-2-2, where you get people like Moy and Trossard, the two that combine high for the goal into high advanced positioning, where when they win the ball back, they can do damage and they can also play through lines in possession quite comfortably. The sacrifice to that system for them is they're going to struggle with fullbacks who bomb on quite well. And Aarons and Lewis, who we like as footballers, didn't do enough, in my opinion, to try and expose that at the weekend. That said, Adam Ida, his header at the end is so unlucky and should go in. On assets from these two, I personally would only be considering Ryan and one of Webster, Dunk, Burn. And the only reason I even mention these players at all is for people who've still got a bench boost. And then I think if you go for any of them, you're limiting yourself to 36 or 37. 38 is wild if you want a bench boost in that week. Good luck doing it. So, I mean, assets here from an FPL perspective.
It's done, isn't it, really?
Move on.
I don't mind Ryan because he's going to potentially have to make quite a lot of saves against Liverpool and City. Southampton, we saw what they can do. This is obviously their fixture run. Southampton, we've seen what they can do. Newcastle are stubborn buggers. Burnley are stubborn buggers. So from an attacking point of view, not going near it. Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there. Ryan's the only one that's a consideration. And the others, for a bench boost, I think there are better options out there at the same price. Even my own team's West Ham. So I don't think I would be looking at any of these guys from an FPL point of view.
For those not with a bench boost, Connolly can obviously be considered as well. One of the things I tweeted over the weekend, I wasn't joking about it, is if I had my wild card, I'd go Greenwood, Ketcher and Connolly.
Yeah, I'm just playing.
I don't need anything else. And you actually don't need to go that cheap. You can go Ings instead of Connolly or Jimenez instead of Connolly.
I was going to say, you want to leave Jimenez out?
You really don't need to go that cheap. But I think I just would. Because I just go, right, well, Connolly's definitely not playing for me. You can make easy choices. And it's different. With Brighton, the reason I mentioned them guys at the back, if you want to look towards a bench boost and them being part of it, is picking the rest of the team, forget it. No chance to know what Potter's going to do, system, anything. Whereas those four guys I mentioned, if they're fit, they'll play.
Yeah. Leicester 3, Palace 1.
Palace 1?
Palace 0, sorry. I'm just looking at the screen. It says MacArthur 1, yellow card. That's probably catching my eye. Can we say Leicester
That was their highlight. That was their one. The MacArthur yellow card.
Great to make a save. I mean,
one yellow card, one slip.
If we're talking about
one goalkeeper clanger, one fuck up in front of goal from Zaha.
if we're talking about beach teams, are Palace the ultimate beach team at the moment? And also the other side of it is, can we say Leicester are back, or Leicester's fixtures don't scream come and get us in terms of their players? Arsenal, Bournemouth's a good one, but then Sheffield United, Tottenham, Man United, they're not screaming at me to come out and get them. I was looking at Jared Bowen in my transfer hokey cokey for my bench boost. The only player at Leicester that could change my mind would have been Harvey Barnes. He's affordable at 6 million, and he would serve me well as part of a bench boost if I wanted to go down that road. But I'll put it this way: Leicester, good win, back to 3 points. Didn't convince me to say, yeah, go back and get some of our players, or that they've turned the corner enough.
I think, to reflect immediately on the game tomorrow at Arsenal, I think if they play 4-1-4-1, which is what they were probably most successful with before the winter time having Barnes, say, on the left, Jose Perez on the right, and if Maddison's fit, and he can play him and Tielemans a bit higher to push Xhaka and Ceballos back and have Ndidi protecting, then I think they could beat Arsenal. I don't think they'll line up like that, though, and I think they'll give themselves some trouble. Against the reason Leicester are very much back on the radar and Tottenham are on people's fucking radar is because they play Bournemouth in 2 game weeks' time. And what a lot of people are considering right now is this idea of going from, for example, if the money is available, Jimenez to Kane, Kane to Vardy, and then knocking on to the next one that Bournemouth are playing, which is then Manchester City, Jesus, then Danny Ings, then Calvert-Lewin. People have already got that in their mind that those are their next 5 transfers, for example, just to target in Bournemouth. And I understand that. With all of them players that I've mentioned, I don't see them being the best captaincy on those game weeks. So if you want to go for it, I'm not against that as a strategy, but it wouldn't be for me. Vardy is streaky. We know that. I don't think buying him before Arsenal, who look much improved in this new system at the moment, is the right way to go. So they'll certainly be off my radar to at least a weekend. I would be very, very surprised if I invest in Leicester assets between now and the end of the season. And I definitely will not be investing in any Crystal Palace assets.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more there. Harvey Barnes is the one for me. For me to get Jamie Vardy back in, I'd have to move away from Jesus, and I've already said that I'm sticking with Gabriel Jesus.
Barnes a better pick than Bowen, Antonio, Martial, Pulisic, all these people at not too dissimilar values. And Martial's probably quite a bit more now.
Martial's a bit more, but no, not really.
I don't think so.
No, not really. That's the thing. Right? The only thing with Barnes, he is a bit cheaper. It's like if you needed to save the money, that's why you would potentially do it.
What price is he?
Barnes is at 6 million. Bowen's at 6.4. Antonio 6.8 or 6.9, something along those lines. Pulisic is at 7 now. So there's $500,000 to $1 million more in value there. And Barnes has been quite consistent, but I think Harvey Barnes for me is now on the watch list for 2020-21 as opposed to anything else.
Genuinely, I would buy Bowen or Antonio before Harvey Barnes at the moment, personally.
Yeah. Man United 5, Bournemouth 2.
Let's talk Bournemouth first because I did partly mention it about attacking them. And I want to get this out of the way because my deadline stream tomorrow is going to be awful. Should Captain Kane, should Captain Kane, should Captain Kane. It's always going to be. Should I buy Kane? I ain't going to tell any of you to buy Harry Kane. One, watch the game tonight and use your eye test for yourself and then decide from there. If you want to attack Harry Kane versus Bournemouth, they are probably the best team to attack against in that perspective, that kind of hokey-cokey as I just described. I can't recommend it for you. One thing to bear in mind with the game for Thursday, Spurs play tonight, then they play Thursday, then play Arsenal on Sunday. If Spurs go in front early, they're going to let Bournemouth have the ball. They're not going to go and mug them off like everybody else has been mugging them off lately because they're going to save legs. They're going to try and counter-attack. And Spurs could absolutely expose them on a counter-attack. I mean, Son could do absolute maximum damage from left back, I should imagine. I wouldn't be going near them personally. Put it this way, it's no faults of my own. I might even sell Son still, depending on what I see tonight, and that might sound ridiculous. But I'd just look at it with those games coming up and going, you might rest him against Bournemouth, you know. That would be my take on it at the moment. If Son's going to get a rest, it's probably the Bournemouth game. So I might even still sell him, like I said, depending on what I see tonight. And this is obviously recorded before the game. So I can't make that decision yet. If I sell him, I'm going Mahrez. You wouldn't think twice about it. But generally, yeah, I'll hold him. But to go and buy Spurs, no. Please listen to me.
I'm with you.
Is Harry Kane a better captaincy option this week than Kevin De Bruyne?
No. Simple. No, not a chance. With Bournemouth as well, as much as they've been garbage since the restart and have been leaking goals like nobody's business, they are still 1 point away from getting out. I don't know what the goal difference is, but they're only 1 point behind Watford. So between Watford, Bournemouth and Villa, this is going to go on for a little while. They are not out of it. Bournemouth are not out of it yet. They still could escape. So for them, they put up a bit more of a fight against Manchester United than they have. Like, getting a couple of goals is no mean feat. So I think they are going to put up a real stubborn block against you guys, knowing that every little point counts now. Like 1 point, eking out 1 point here and there is going to make a big difference. If you offered them a draw between now, obviously they're going to bite your hand off. So
against us,
yeah,
no, they're going to go for it. They're going to try and beat us. Now that can have the flip side, like it did against Newcastle, right? Where they got exposed badly.
That would be crazy if they did that.
No, it's not. I saw signs at the weekend of Bournemouth.
They were better, weren't they?
They had a period. I mean, the first goal from Stanislas, shout out to Harry Maguire as well. Close your legs, mate. My God. I mean, he took it really well. And after the second goal they scored, which was, I mean, what is that all about? It's not a penalty. But then Danjuma had a goal disallowed and it was clearly offside. But then it was like, oh, wow. Just think about that for a second. All those sides down the bottom, and they're playing away to Manchester United. And in a couple of minute period, they very nearly went from 3-1 to 3-3. Partly perhaps by accident. But they're capable. Callum Wilson will be back from suspension this week, and they're going to go for it. They're going to play Wilson, King, Brooks. I wouldn't be surprised if Danjuma plays, and they're going to go for it. Now, like I said, that really could have the opposite effect where they get absolutely done over on a counter-attack. But I think he's realised, Eddie Howe, they can't just sit off and hope to get stuff on the counter-attack in these games because they're not good enough. They need to go for teams, and I think they are going to go for it. And actually, until Greenwood made it 1-1, wasn't it? They were doing all right.
Yeah.
There's no point in them sitting off because they'll get torn apart and broke down by the majority of teams anyway. So I think they're going to go for it. I think they'll be brilliant to watch over the next week or two, actually. They'll be fun. Oh, shit, they're playing us on Thursday. Maybe not. I'd watch one of the other games at 6:00.
Let's see. United hokey cokey. Well, yeah, I think I've got to get Greenwood in, and Martial might have to be the make-weight sacrifice. But I do have another option there.
Why have you got to get him in firstly?
At that price, because I'm really focused on my bench boost now, James, because there's 5 weeks to go. And so having a decent bench for my bench boost in 36, or it looks like 36 for me at the moment, the way the fixtures are, Greenwood is a must for me at that price. 4.5 million with that potential. And I think that week they play Villa, if I'm not mistaken.
36, United play Palace.
And that's right.
The careful with that, mate, just as a general, they play Southampton on the Monday, Palace on the Thursday, then they've got the FA Cup semi-final on the Sunday. Now, there's no reason for them generally to be playing changing the team. But if they are going to change it, it's likely to be that one.
Maybe.
Because they'll think they'll do Palace, whatever they do, with the way they're playing.
Yeah, I just don't think the hokey cokey is going to benefit a lot of people anyway here. The only thing that you could consider is, and I don't know what your thoughts are, on sacrificing the defender. You got Harry Maguire. He's expendable. I think Wan-Bissaka at 5.3 million is maybe expendable. I'd rather have Greenwood right now than Wan-Bissaka. And I'm almost okay going with no Manchester United defensive coverage and just doubling up on Wolves or something like that insteid.
I think I prefer that.
It's a thought at the moment.
I think to go without that. Consider as well that Wolves in for yourself in game week 36. Wolves play Burnley.
Yeah,
I think I prefer that.
Mm.
Yeah. Even though looking at United's upcoming games, I see a couple of teams are going to be stubborn. That includes Villa, and we'll come on to them in a bit. Villa and Palace in 36. All right, they're not doing a lot, but they're going to be stubborn. You've seen Southampton, what they're capable of against some of these bigger sides in game week 35, and their away form is generally much better than their home form. We can't really say if that matters or doesn't matter at the moment. And you're not going to die in front of them in game week 37, mate. It's going to matter, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's potentially the game that's going to keep you up if you can nick a point or something as it stands.
Exactly, yeah. Wolves 0, Arsenal 2. Surprising, disappointing for so many of us who own Wolves assets. We won't even touch on the BPS system here of how Lacazette manages to nick maximum bonus points with that. What a
Did you see what I tweeted him?
It's like I understand that the winning goal has extra value, but it wasn't the winning goal because
it's not even a winning goal anyway.
Winning. So to get to 28 28 points in the BPS in that space of time, doing whatever. I don't know how. There must be a glitch in the system somewhere. Xhaka with the armband.
What, for Arsenal?
Yeah. Didn't he have the armband for a little bit as well? Everybody's kissed and made up.
There's
Arsenal's won 3 in a row.
There's no crowd there to make a noise, is there? He can do what he wants with it. And I thought him and Ceballos at the moment are doing really well together, actually. They've got a nice balance where they generally seem to constantly stay side by side. It reminds me a lot of Conte's Chelsea in terms of the system, and also a little bit, which kind of actually a little bit with Spurs, when Spurs did that over that sort of winter period of the same season, where the two behind the main front man, in the case of Arsenal here, it's Aubameyang and Saka from the weekend, will go into wider positions defensively without the ball, but then are concentrated in not being narrow when they've got the ball to pick up, almost a little bit like what I've said with Brighton in terms of picking up some damage in some of the pockets, right? Which then allows the wing-backs to get really high. And it's up to the two central midfielders to generally keep a straight line, almost like a block. And they really do play side by side. Like I said, it reminds me a lot of how Wanyama and Dembele played together a bit for Spurs. And I mentioned on Friday that I thought Arsenal would probably get something under this system. I'm not hugely surprised. Wolves, this comes a bit like what I've said with Sheffield United, etc. Wolves are exceptional. We praise them nearly every week, right? Mm-hmm. I saw a lot of comments at the weekend about, couldn't watch them every week and stuff like that about Wolves. They had a bad day. Basic, simple things were getting wrong. You know, things like Bolly not cutting out the crossfield ball on the first goal when he's normally immaculate. He doesn't make any, and it's not even an error. It's just he never makes mistakes, so that's why I mention it. Yeah. And they get done over on the second goal, and Lacazette does take it brilliantly, by the way. Good they had finish. A bad day. But Wolves didn't really play any different in terms of systematically, anything like that, to what they normally do. The problem part was when they had the big chance, they missed. And normally they don't. And that's what lets Traore down. He's still, his composure finishing at the end. We praised him massively on his crossings, improved so much. He has to score in that moment. There's no excuse. Has to score. And then at 1-1, it's a different game and they probably go and win. So although Arsenal deserved to win at the weekend, very, very fine margins, right? So I wouldn't get hung up on Wolves. I'm not going to play against people like Aubameyang every week. Saka is a super little talent, isn't he? I mean, he looks like player. He really does look like he's just got out of school. He can play anyway. He's a super little talent. Wolves had a bad day. I wouldn't stress about it. Jimenez, the problem with Jimenez is you never feel he's going to score more than once. I think it's only when they played Man City over the Christmas period when they went down to 10 men where he's actually scored 2 in a game. He's consistent as. I've thought about taking him out for reasons like yourself and going to Nketiah with Greenwood to then comfortably get me up to higher people in midfield, right? But he's consistent as they've got 5 games left and he'll probably score 3 goals. And that's basically where Jimenez is out. He's not captainable. You also can't really leave him out. And with what I've got, I've debated doing that this week because I've got Sheffield United and they're stubborn as defensively. If Jimenez has a chance, he'll probably score. I wouldn't get hung up on what happened to Wolves at the weekend. I don't think they can finish top 4 now because Chelsea and United are doing too well, in my opinion, scoring too many goals. But they've had a very good season. They'll probably still likely hold Arsenal off for 6th and qualify for Europe again. They've not got as many points as everybody perceives because of how shit everyone's been during this season. Same as what I've said with Sheffield United and the like. Yeah. So they haven't improved as much as everyone else thinks, but they've still had a very, very good season.
And then they've got the fun and games of the Europa League straight after, where they can have a real good go at it.
Exactly.
So I think, yeah. Jimenez was a no-brainer hold for me anyway. The other one, and defensively, they're going to be all right. I think the Sheffield United and Burnley games that they've got, they'll have a lot of possession. So I think I'm happy to keep them for that. The Everton home game looks like one where they'll be able to, and the Palace home game look like they can pick up good results in those. and then the last day of the season, Chelsea away, you ride that out. Jimenez stays.
You could make a case of the 5 teams they've got left. The worst defensively is Chelsea.
Yeah, quite possibly actually. Maybe Everton. Traore is the one that could potentially be also on the chopping block, because there's other options putting their hands up in that bracket. Maybe say Maximan or something like that. Traore is still a hold for you at the moment at 5.7, 5.8, whatever is that?
I'm not fussed either way. I can't see me starting him much with what I've got. I haven't got, put it this way, I haven't got the fear of leaving him out.
Yeah.
It was always, when I decided to get him in 30, I said to you, I thought he would probably struggle over this period, and he's not, in fairness. But it was looking at it and going, I don't think he'll struggle in the first 3 fixtures that they had back, which included yourselves and Bournemouth, etc. And he's got returns. Worth saying, it was just assists, wasn't it, in those 2?
Yeah.
He didn't start against Villa. That's what I would have expected out of him over those 3 fixtures, something like 2 assists. He's one who's not impacted, same as Jimenez. The fixtures doesn't really matter, but I don't have faith in him to deliver against what I can get to for 1 million more in a Pulisic or Martial in 2 and a bit more. I would rather get up to these guys if I can and downgrade somewhere else. I've got the money to do that now and go Traore to Martial level if I didn't have 3 United. Once I go Son to Mahrez, I can go higher if that's what I'm thinking. So, no, I wouldn't be worried about keeping him. Just know that this goes for everybody. As soon as you take him and as out, he'll score. Reliable as. And Arsenal, like I said, really impressive in this system. I'm worried about Sunday now. I'm not going to lie to you. And those going in on Spurs should think about that as well.
So we've got the 3 wins in a row, 3 clean sheets in a row as well for the Gooners. Those that are pumped with Martinez as their main keeper, well done. I mean, he's looking tidy as a little bench boost keeper now. But Leicester at home, Tottenham away, Liverpool at home is not really the greatest run. They are a bit soft in the underbelly sometimes, Arsenal. But then they finish with Villa away and Watford at home. So for me, it's 37-38, game week 37, game week 38. I might look at bringing in an Arsenal asset, depending on where they are. And if they're in a position to get into top 6 or top 5 or something like that, then maybe consider it. But I'm not moving towards Arsenal right now.
I genuinely think this system that they're playing will give Leicester and Tottenham problems. And it might even give Liverpool some problems next Wednesday. And then playing that same way, I see that they might struggle to break down Villa in 37. Genuinely, that's how I feel about them in this system, that they'll actually do very well in some of these difficult games. Now, I don't think anybody's looking to particularly buy their assets now because of that fixture list, and we're not advising you to. I'm just saying be aware that I think they might do all right over this next week or so. And Ketcher is the one, and Martinez, because of their values, you can still go to, absolutely. Martinez, your backup keeper, isn't he?
Yeah.
Liverpool that day in 36, isn't it?
Game week 36 is, yeah.
That's a little off-putting from that perspective. If you've got Nketiah and Martinez, presumably they're going to be part of your bench boost against Liverpool.
And Nketiah will be gone by then.
Is that your plan, yeah?
Yeah. And it's more 35 or 37 that I'm looking at bench boost.
You said 36, blood.
I definitely meant 35.
Shit, I've got a couple of Arsenal players.
No,
let me rethink that.
when we play Norwich is when I was thinking about, and Arsenal play you. That was the week I was looking. I meant 35. If anybody's got,
yeah, cool, boss. Yeah, we all believe you, mate.
No, honestly, it genuinely was because I was thinking about not taking a hit this week and using only my 2 free transfers, one before the weekend. You know what's messed up is like we're talking 2 or 3 game weeks away. It's like in 4 days or something.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's this weekend coming. Is that week? It feels mental to be so close. It gets the planning a little bit like, I think it's already here.
It's easy to forget at the moment how little transfers we've all got left.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm planning out moves.
Very good point.
I want to do this, I want to do that, and then I'm going, if I'm going to free hit in game week 38, I've only got 4 transfers left. So that's the thing. I'm thinking, right, am I going to waste one of them 4 transfers this week by going Maguire to a 4 million defender or a Jimenez to an Nketiah? That's basically one wasted. Now I've got 3 left.
To set
Is it
yourself
worth
up for your
it?
free hit, exactly.
And that's the sort of thing I need to think about for myself personally. And a lot of people who have still got free hit are going to be in a similar position where I don't know if it's worth fucking about for these cheap guys and just make the one kind of premium moves. A little bit like, genuinely, if people are thinking about that target Bournemouth, for example, because there's so little to go, I don't hate that. I just don't think in any of them weeks you're going to go and captain that player. So is that necessarily the best thing you can get over that period? You might decide, for example, that something might change your mind about Liverpool this week and you still need to slam into Salah or Mane for Burnley at the weekend. So I wouldn't be targeting that sort of target Bournemouth strategy. And on Wolves and Arsenal, just to sum up, I think you're probably in a position with both those sides at the moment where it's now don't buy. But I urge caution on selling as well.
Chelsea 3, Watford 0. Watford in my opinion, Watford quietly going under the radar is garbage. But Chelsea as well, I mean, they weren't fluid. They weren't as clinical as I think they could have been. But they still eked out a 3-0 win.
It's about right. So
yeah. Pulisic's always still a danger, but I did see an interesting tweet from somebody, and forgive me, whoever you are that tweeted this. It might have been Neil Murray, I'm not sure. That his last 3 assists have all come from him being fouled, which I did. Him picking the ball up and driving at people is what causes fear. Hazard-esque, Hazard-like, let's call it, because that's quite a comparison. But him picking up the ball and driving at people is what causes the issues. Barkley, actually, to be fair, had a good game in that kind of 10 role. I think he's always been a talent, hasn't he, Ross Barkley? We know that he can play football. And Giroud perhaps offers a bit more of a focal point than Tammy Abraham sometimes does. So Willian's been in the goals. Without being amazing, they are still doing all right, Chelsea.
Just on Willian, I saw a stat, and I don't know if it's still the case after the games yesterday, but I think someone, again, I'm sorry, I don't know who it was, but someone tweeted at the weekend he's like the 12th highest scoring FPL player or something.
Yeah.
That guy's a long-term troll, you know that. We're all sitting there every week going, I ain't going to get another penalty this week. I ain't going to get another free kick on the edge of the box. And actually keeps converting them. I mean, still, honestly, I would go Pulisic over Willian. Giroud, as I've spoken previously, is so much better for the guys in the midfield area than Willian. I mean, to be honest, the goal Giroud scores at the weekend, Abraham doesn't score that on his left foot. So I'm not sure, for example, that Barkley even plays that pass. Different things. You think, okay, do you know what he is, Giroud? He's not quick, but his movement's good. Think back to the Chelsea-Tottenham game in February, where he managed to get away 40 yards from goal ahead of Alderweireld, because he times his runs very well, actually. He's a good forward player, brings people into play. He's not Chelsea's long-term solution, but we know they've already bought the replacement, in my opinion, in Werner. I think will play through the middle next year. Just a couple of things to say. One, I really fancied Watford to get something this weekend until I saw the team. Jesus. You've gone there and you're going to try and sit in against them, aren't you? Chelsea are there to be done on the counter-attack at the moment. Now, one point on this is the teams that they're playing in the next 3 fixtures aren't capable of doing it to them. Crystal Palace, Sheffield United and Norwich.
Yeah.
I don't mean to bunch Sheffield United in with the other 2, but in terms of fast-paced counter-attack, if Sheffield United damage them, it will be through build-up in wide areas and midfield runners going right at the heart of them. They won't do them on a counter-attack. Even Palace, right? Zaha, if he ever gets off the touchline, you never know, he might cause some damage. But they're not going to do Chelsea on the counter-attack. So from that perspective, they're probably quite safe in the next 3, I think, to pick up at least 7 points or so. But Watford, for me, I really thought they were going to play Welbeck. And when he came on late in the game, he gave them a little bit of trouble. And I don't think, Welbeck is not an FPL asset, but I really think he's going to help others like Doucouré and Sarr in the very near future. So I think this week, Watford are playing Norwich, right? We're talking about targeting teams. If you're looking to downgrade a little bit of budget, perhaps from an 8 million to a 6 million area, you can do far worse this week than look at Sarr and Doucouré, in my opinion. I think Welbeck will play and they'll be better for it. Deeney, who also struggled, would be better for it, in my opinion. Just a shout out for Etienne Capoue as well, challenger of the season. What a guy. Do you know what it reminded me of? Anybody who's played 11-a-side football will have had this moment, right? Where you have a moment where, and I don't know what it was, but something is in his mind that's gone against him. Whether it been, I don't know, someone's barged him off the ball, or he's not won a free kick, or something's just happened where he has pre-decided in his mind, I'm going to chase the ball and I'm going to get it no matter what.
Yeah.
And he's completely forgot that he's in his own penalty area. He's just lost his mind. He runs past two teammates to go and try and get at Pulisic. And all Pulisic does is he turns inside, he sees him coming, and he just thinks, well, I'm just going to raise myself like half a foot off the floor here, and I can't avoid but go down, right? It's so naive. But listen, Watford weren't getting anything on Saturday anyway. They set up badly, in my opinion. Didn't help having Mariappa right back against Pulisic either, because I think just mentally that made them a little bit more cautious as well. And perhaps that's why they sat in a bit deeper.
Burnley won, Sheffield United won. I didn't get to watch this game, James, so it's all on you. But I expected a 0-0 at half-time and maybe a 1-1 or draw or something dull. I did see John Egan's goal, so he could be the answer to West Ham's striking problems in the future, potentially. Play him up front and we might pick up a 20 goal a season defender or something. But and even the Tarkowski goal with Rodriguez's flick on and what have you, Sheffield United should be potentially doing better than that defensively on a set piece or what have you. But
I mean, both these teams would be disappointed to concede from set pieces. I mean, you can see the pain on McBurney. If you look back at the Tarkowski goal, McBurney knows he's getting ruined at half-time by the manager, mate.
Yeah.
Because he's just hesitated for a moment. But I mean, it was so fractionally nearly offside as well. And the result in the end was correct. It wasn't that bad of a game, actually. I've seen plenty worse since the restart. Result was about right. But Burnley really should have won it from the perspective of Dwight McNeil's miss at 1-0. When he's got the rebound off Henderson, he can do whatever he wants with it. It's awful. And he needs to... We speak so highly of him regularly, Dwight McNeil. And they always go, he's not an FPL asset, though, at that price. And it's because of things like this. He's got to score there. There is no excuse. Result was about right. Burnley missed Ben Mee. I think if Ben Mee had stayed on the pitch, they would have held on. Can't put Kevin Long accountable to the goal that happens. I just think it pulls people apart, and Burnley don't normally get themselves in a position where someone gets free, particularly a big target like Egan on the back post. And Sheffield United will be better for the return of O'Connell, who's obviously come on and is fit now as well. Neither of these sides, they both fall into that same category as Wolves and Arsenal. I'm not meaning to group those four teams. You're not going to go and buy assets from these teams at the moment now.
No. I would only add one thing there. This midfield spot that I've talked about where I'm going from Pulisic to Bowen for the bench boost and Harvey Barnes was a consideration. Dwight McNeil was actually also a consideration at that 6.4, maybe for my bench boost to get in. But I don't really want to... see, Bowen, I don't mind holding before and after, and I might play him in one or two other games. McNeil, I probably wouldn't. So I'd still take Bowen over McNeil at the moment.
If you're going game week 37 for the bench boost, when McNeil has Norwich... I don't mind that, but what they've got coming up next, West Ham, Liverpool, Wolves, I'm not...
No,
not for me, mate. No.
Moving on then to Newcastle 2, West Ham 2. We'll start with Newcastle, who impressed me more in this game than they did against Bournemouth the other day. Just the way that they set up. I thought the fullbacks actually did quite well, particularly Kraft. I thought he had a good game, and he was quite good. Shelvey was okay as well, box to box. But ultimately, I don't know. What were your thoughts on the game, James? I feel like I don't really want to... I feel like I'm a bit biased talking about it.
He actually played really well against us in game week 3, Kraft. I mean, that's another Spurs disaster, which is another podcast. But are you genuinely saying, Suj, that Newcastle were better against you than they were against Bournemouth? Because you didn't deserve to lose yesterday, in my opinion.
That's why I said you tell me about the game. I feel like I've watched it and I've come off with a biased opinion because I feel like West Ham irritated me yesterday. And
I saw you tweet that as well, and I'm not quite sure why, other than the sloppiness of conceding twice after going in front.
I'll tell you why it was. And this is why I feel like I've got a biased opinion on the game, that we were bad and they were better than us, just because I was annoyed with West Ham more than anything else. After we scored the first goal, we sat in deep for a while. And it wasn't until, again, 30 minutes or 35, between 30 35 minutes on the clock, in the last 10 minutes of the first half, that we actually started passing the ball again well. So many times we'd lose the ball and it was so scrappy. And I was thinking during that first half, for the neutral, the amount of times both sides were giving the ball away in the middle of the pitch was a horrible watch of football. Absolute horrible watch of football. And Lanzini and Fornals, when they get the ball, they slow the game down by just taking too long to think about what they're going to do next. Lanzini especially. And it irritated me. And I'm one that I like to see the basics done well, pass and move. I like the base, keep the ball and pass it. And we didn't do that, and it irritated me, and then just left me in a kind of foul mood. Second half, actually, to be fair, we were better and we should have won, other than just conceding like just stupid goals. There we go. What are your thoughts?
I think the fact that the two teams aren't the best in possession actually led to a better football match. I think a lot of people.
Car crashing.
I think anybody who watched all 4 games yesterday is probably thinking, well, actually, no, it's not fair. It was the Southampton City game. But certainly of the 3 daytime games, it was the best watch of the 3, right? Because there were goals, there were moments in the game that were interesting. I think there were a few things to point out. The first was on the Almiron equaliser. And the commentator, I forget his name, but he's obsessed with saying they hit the front every time someone goes in front in every game. Like, mate, have you got any other lines in your repertoire? But he said that Almiron was Newcastle's top scorer, and I had to check back on it. I was like, what? Just remind yourself of that a moment when you're thinking about Newcastle. Yes, Miguel Almiron, now on 4 league goals, is Newcastle's top goal scorer. I presume that includes all comps, but either way, it's staggeringly bad. It's not like they've been in Europe or anything like that. Suchek, mate. Should we talk about it?
Yes, let's do it.
He's nearly scored twice here, mate.
He has, and he had a disallowed goal. Look, anybody who's 6'4", with his wiry frame is going to be a threat at set pieces. I've said it before. He came into the league with a goal-scoring midfielder's reputation, but has been playing a little bit deeper. 4.8 million, 0.1%. He's going to raise a few eyebrows. I really like him. We've got to get him into a permanent deal this summer. If you want to buy him, go for it. But I don't have the confidence necessarily to say, yeah, he's a good FPL asset. But then I look at it, he's cheap, man. 4.8 million. He is cheap. Set pieces, we've got players that can deliver a good ball in Creswell and Bowen. He does get forward. I don't know. Maybe. I almost said it as a passing comment when we were talking about so many teams that's come into. Actually, it was not a bad shout. I like the guy. I want him to stay at the club permanently. I can't still quite bring myself to say go out and get him from an FPL.
You're not a permanent buyer now?
I thought it was a loan to perm for the rest of the season.
It's probably done as a permanent.
Convert to perm in the summer. I'm pretty sure that was the terms, but I may be wrong. Bowen's still looking a threat all the time. Tell me, you watched the game. Let me just ask you a question. I'm just going to make one statement, a one-word statement, and you finish it off. Lanzini.
No. I mean, what's the question there? How long have you got?
It's like playing with 10 men.
Don't be silly. It's not, mate.
It just... A lot of people tweeted that bringing Noble on was a negative substitution, but Noble for Lanzini for me was the right move, because at least suddenly we'd start keeping the ball and moving the ball a bit better. If Noble's not going to make the Hollywood pass, but at least he'll make the simple pass. Lanzini was doing neither.
I think the gripe from West Ham fans about that was your deluded fan base wanted Wilshere on instead of Noble.
I don't know about that.
That was the gripe.
I don't know about that.
You're not as deluded as the rest.
No, none of the fans that I know or interact with wanted Wilshere on. Not at all. I think the team that we finished with at the end of the game is how, if Haller isn't fit, is how I'd like to set up with Yarmolenko on the left and Bowen. Yarmolenko on the right and Bowen on the left.
Just a reminder of what West Ham have left fixtures: Burnley, Norwich, Watford, Man United, Villa. They do not fall into the cluster of teams that we say right now don't target. Like you generally can. I have a couple of key things on this. positives and negatives on Bowen. Positive set piece again. So what West Ham did really well this week is Newcastle have obviously planned for it. And West Ham have taken the same corner with different players in different positions to pull away Newcastle's best headers of the ball to the front post. And this time it's obviously Declan Rice that comes round the back. He's exactly the same as the equaliser against Chelsea. It just ends up in the net differently with the same goal scorer, by the way. I'm now less keen on Bowen than I was pre-game, and I'll explain why. Lanzini part of the problem. Also, Noble obviously, was he not fit against Chelsea? He wasn't even on the bench, was he?
Tight hamstring or some hamstring problem.
Which is probably why he's not played again. Now, I think that Suchek Rice central midfield with 4 attacking with the upcoming fixtures you've got is the right way to go. However, if it's going to go to a 3, I think Suchek probably plays higher. And actually, he really would be one to watch. However, my main concern from Bowen would be, and I don't know if it would be to his detriment or not, but I think it will be, is referring back to Lanzini, Yarmolenko's come on in 2 games and looks really capable. Now, we know his fitness-wise, he's probably not going to get you more than an hour or something. But if Yarmolenko comes back in the team, he plays on the right. It means Bowen goes to the left. And I think Bowen will be far more effective off the right. It won't take things like the set pieces away from Bowen. I wouldn't have thought. But I think it makes him slightly less of a threat off the left. If you're going to put a 3 to get 2 wide players close to Antonio at the moment, if Aller's still out, isn't he? Yeah. Then the best combination right now is...
No news on him. I've also heard some rumours that Haller's not getting played because of some money-related issues with Frankfurt if he plays a certain number of games or something.
Really?
The whole... I think, and I don't know to what extent these are rumours or not, but yeah, Haller's not in the squad right now. That's what
I'd be fascinated if you went down, lost out on 100-odd million, but West Ham went, yeah, by the way, we ain't got to pay that £500,000 we owe Frankfurt.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I just heard something around contractual stuff with it, and it could be completely unrelated.
Bowen and Yarmolenko in the team together is the best way for you to remain attacking intent at the moment. Because as well, the one thing about Yarmolenko is he only needs a yard, you know that. And for some reason, people still get kidded by the fact that he's going to step inside. He's very, very capable. And playing against a side like Burnley this week, who you know are not going to give you much in terms of space, etc., he's going to be a better talent, I think, to come back into the team. And I think if that's the case, Bowen goes back onto the left and is probably less effective.
Liverpool 2, Villa 0. It came good in the end. I saw a lot of people tweeting afterwards, Salah owners, you got lucky with the assist. It's a 90-minute game of football. So how much more lucky is it if he gets the assist in the 89th minute than the 33rd minute or whatever? It's 90 minutes game of football. Play to the end of the game and you're likely to pick up points. So it wasn't lucky, in my opinion.
Firstly, I want to give huge praise to Aston Villa. Genuinely.
They gave Liverpool a game.
Genuinely. That's the best that anyone's played at Anfield in a long time. And I mean that in terms of their tactical setup. And I sat here 3 days ago and went, I think they might be looking for a different manager. And the manager has pulled out a tactical one that's brilliant here. So full credit to him. It's got to go both ways in our praise and our critique. What they did was I saw the teams and I thought, truthfully, I thought Liverpool were going to get 5 or 6 with the way Villa had picked their team. Because it looked a little bit too offensive to me. And I thought, well, the best thing you can do with these is probably sit off them and hope, really. And hope that Tyrone Mings heads everything away. And for a lot of the game, Tyrone Mings did head everything away, by the way. But what they did is clever. Basically, they let the fullbacks have the ball, which normally can be a car crash against Liverpool. We've seen teams do that. But put it this way. It was only going to be from deep positions that Robertson or Trent were going to deliver greatness. And I think they took a stance on Trent that, do you know what? If he puts a worldie cross in for 40 yards and someone gets on the end of it, fine, we'll live with that. But we're not going to let these two overlap and get us on the byline. The 2 fullbacks never went forward. And the 2 wide players got into areas where the ball couldn't be fed into Salah and Mane. It was really clever. But it also, being in those positions, allowed them to attack really well on the counter-attack when they won the ball back. They basically never engaged with Liverpool's 2 wide central midfield players, Keita and Chamberlain, until they stepped into certain areas. And what they were happy with those two were they were happy for them to have the ball, but not enough to try and play 1-2s around people. And they were also happy to think these two aren't the ones that are going to create the killer pass to kill us. Eventually, in the end, it is Keita, by the way. But particularly in the first half, they really pressed at them as a man-to-man. Grealish did a brilliant, brilliant job on Fabinho. Fabinho was sensational against Crystal Palace, completely run the game. They decided what Villa were going to do here was they weren't going to let him play the game. Just go, if you watch the first half, Grealish spends the whole half looking for Fabinho and he doesn't let him go. Grealish, from a defensive point of view, played so well yesterday, and we think might have picked up an injury earlier in the game, which he played through. And then when they won it back, they countered Liverpool because, partly what I've said, they allowed the fullbacks to come onto them and then could spring. And because they were kind of at a man-to-man positioning in midfield, they could break lines and get through them. How many times did Villa have like 4-on-3s? And you didn't ever think they were going to score because they didn't have the quality, right?
No, but the opportunities kept coming.
They gave Liverpool some problems, and it's a blueprint that others might use between now, the end of the season, and the beginning of next season. Is what not a lot of people think to do is say, shut down that hole of the midfield player, be it a Fabinho or Henderson. Now, for me, if I'd have been Klopp, I'd have looked at that and gone, we get Henderson on the pitch now at half-time because he'll have more energy to push Grealish around the pitch. And I think Henderson's not given enough credit for his intelligence as a footballer. I think he would have done things to pull Grealish away into different areas and then let someone else go and sit in that position like a Keita or Chamberlain or whomever and play the game slightly differently. And that's the main reason. It's easy to look at it from a fantasy perspective and go, Liverpool was shit. Liverpool, by their standards, had a bad day, right? But sometimes you've got to give a bit of credit to the opposition who came up with a very good tactical plan. Plus, Liverpool just come off the back of day of chasing Man City 3 days earlier, right? So how much energy did you think they were going to have? They had all that energy and adrenaline trying to win the title. Then they've got battered at Man City. And now you're expecting them to have the different energy to go again 3 days Villa, 3 days Brighton, 3 days Burnley, and have themselves up for it. I don't think it should come as a huge surprise to us that it felt a little bit flat. I thought they'd batter them, though. It's worth saying. I really did think they'd batter them.
Exactly. I was going to say, it shouldn't come as a surprise to us, but yet so many of us tipped Mane or Salah as potentially the best captaincy options of this weekend. Villa are garbage defensively. Villa performed better than we thought they would, and Liverpool didn't play as well as we thought they would. So then with that context, you can say, okay, a 2-0 is fine. We're both sitting on double Liverpool defence. I don't think anybody's got an issue with Liverpool defensively. They're always still going to have so much of the ball. And look, came through with 2 clean sheets. Had Alisson not pulled off a worldly save towards the end, there would have been more defenders in the BPS as well for Liverpool. So no issues there. We're both still going without an attacking Liverpool asset in Mane and Salah. This week, I was fearful not owning Mane or Salah. Is there any fear in you, James, carrying on without one of these two?
No, because the fear was always this fixture gone. It's the fixture that's gone that's the fear. And if I'd known how Villa were going to play, then I wouldn't have had any fear about it. And so, no, I won't be buying them now. No thought to do so. I think the timing before the 3 games was right. And Mane and Salah owners, all right, so it's not matched up to Martial, Fernandes and Greenwood. Still returned. What did Mane get? A 10-pointer?
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, it's not really a huge amount to complain about, is there, if you've got it? All right.
No.
He didn't play well. Salah's done not a lot in the game, and he's still got you 6 points.
This is what I'm worried about.
It's not a disaster, right?
This is what I'm worried about next. Like, I've had 30s 2 weeks in a row for Fernandes. As soon as your captain only scores 15 or 20 points, suddenly you're like, that's rubbish. It's like if you could have a captain giving you 1 return and 1 or 2 BPS every week, you'd be fine with that. Let's talk about the last game before we'll do a few Twitter questions as well, James. Southampton 1, Man City 0. This is the week we put Jay Adams in our zombie team for, isn't it?
Yes, it was, mate. I'm really pleased
I remember when we were debating it out before the season started, we were like, don't worry, it'll be that home tie against Man City in game week 33 that he's going to finally pay us back. That's what we decided. I'm sure that's what we said in the pod. FPL Dabbler, who's very good at going through our old audio clips and finding that moment. Don't even bother because it doesn't exist. But Did he just do that? It was one of those. Did he just do that? He just did that. And
Brilliant.
then I had to think, the way that Edison reacted, was it like, oh, he was probably offside and he just put it in the back of the net and they're going to take a free kick or whatever? And I was like, it's a goal. Actually, it's a goal.
There's nothing Edison can do. And
straight up.
You can't blame him either.
No, it's Zinchenko losing the ball.
The thing is with the way they play, right? Edison is always going to have a high position. You see that pass he made in the first half? Edison?
Yes.
Oh
Zipped
my
it through.
God.
Zipped it through. I think they were having the debate at half-time, weren't they? Did he?
It wasn't even a debate. It's pass of the season, mate. Yeah. It's astonishing.
Pow.
So good. Someone just actually picked De Bruyne for pass of the season. That is crazy. If you didn't watch the game, you have to find this pass of Edison. It's insane. On Che Adams, really pleased that he nearly scored late on against Watford. And they show a close-up on the replays of Hassan, who always has the chance. And Hassan Hoot was mouthing, go on, Che. And he was so disappointed when he didn't score. You can tell there's something quite likeable about him amongst the teammates, I think.
Oh, they all were all around him when he scored.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a long time, right? I've seen that kid for a few years now. I've always had my eye on him since he did damage to Tottenham in the League Cup semis in 2015. He's always been someone I've watched out for. He did really well at Birmingham last year. And I think he might turn into a really good asset next year, because he'll be so much cheaper than Danny Ings, for example. So he could end up being a really nice alternative. He's not an option now, by the way. But to get onto the game, as I already said earlier, this could happen 99 times over, and there's no way that Manchester City don't score. It's ridiculous that they never scored yesterday. McCarthy, who's an average goalkeeper, saves absolutely everything besides to have a worldie. And one of the things that kept getting mentioned in the commentary was Stevens and Bednarek, obviously, particularly Stevens, so many blocks, etc. You know why you have so many blocks, mate? Because you keep getting out of fucking position.
Yeah, I mean, City did do everything other than put the ball in the back of the net.
This wasn't one of them where they were putting up a wall and Man City just couldn't create anything. This wasn't the case. They had loads of chances. Southampton put one hell of a shift in, and on that alone, probably wouldn't have deserved to lose the game. But yeah, several times over, City win that very comfortably. I have no idea how they've not scored in that game. And they shouldn't be overly concerned with what's happened. And you definitely shouldn't be concerned about having Manchester City assets going forward on the basis of that. Just take a second glance at them fixtures again. Even Newcastle's one coming up where you think, okay, yeah, them defensively can be stubborn. But they're playing a completely different way now. If they go and play 4-4-2 at Man City on Wednesday, they'll get absolutely destroyed. Destroyed. I don't think they will, by the way. But if they do, like cracking, it'll be brilliant, mate. City will win about 5-1 if that's what they do.
Did any of the City assets increase or decrease in your interest? Foden, Mahrez are the two that pop out to mind. Obviously, Foden benched, Mahrez played, but Foden came on because Pep wanted to change the way the game was being played. Mahrez is still the one that you were talking about going to from Heung-Min Son, but Foden is also still, I mean, he came on, didn't he, when he wanted to change the game.
Yeah. I mean, I should probably clarify for the listeners who listened Friday and didn't see my stream on Saturday that I think they would have all been expecting Riyad Mahrez to be in my team now. He's not. I made the other two transfers Friday night, decided to sleep on the Mahrez in for Son move for a -4. And I decided that I just couldn't justify it. It was rage. It was rage wanting me to make that move, rage against Spurs, because breaking it down, if I looked at it as a one-game week, Mahrez to do Son over that game week, with Son playing Everton, City playing Southampton. Like, Sonny can return tonight. Where would you put him at? Probably, okay, 5-pointer. Let's call it an average. He predicted 5-pointer tonight, for example. That means really I need a 10-pointer from Mahrez. And that's what I would have needed, really, to make the hit worthwhile. Because I can still make the transfer now for free, right? So it's not one of them where I'm looking at it for a projected longer period. I had to break it down as one game week and couldn't justify it. The fear was he was going to start. Just a thought on the fact that he came off early. I think, and it goes back to discussions we've had with FPL Pringle before about him planning ahead in terms of he knows what his team's going to be. I think right now, with the way the fixtures are going, etc., I think he knows what his substitutes are before a game happens as well. because for me, that didn't make sense to take him off the pitch.
No.
I think it was a pre-decided decision. Right, Mahrez is going to play an hour, and then I'm bringing De Bruyne and Foden in for half hour, etc. I think it was pre-decided. Gartson is 1-0 down, and they're sensing him taking Mahrez and Sterling off the pitch. Really. And that didn't particularly, it didn't really impact them, but I think that's pre-decided, surely. Which means they probably both start again against Newcastle, in my opinion, by the way. And Foden and De Bruyne come in for Bernardo and David Silva.
It'll be interesting to see what does happen with City there. I think you just
the one that went up in my thinking from the actual game itself was Jesus, and I know everybody else thinks exactly differently, and I don't mind that. His ownership is going to be incredibly low. It could be that timing's right. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes off against Newcastle. Then I also wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't start.
Yeah. And that was all the games. We have got one more left today. We're going to be covering Tottenham in our Patreon podcast tomorrow. We're going to be covering Tottenham-Everton in Tottenham. Let me get it right. In our Patreon podcast that goes out tomorrow. The Patreon podcasts are available for everybody that's signed up. You can visit patreon.com/PandaFPL. We have loads of content that we produce for the patrons exclusively. There's a Q&A going out today. We have some other shows later in the week as well. James, what do we have on Wednesday for the patrons?
I was just thinking before I go on to that if Spurs lose tonight, we get loads of new patrons tonight.
Look, if you want to pay just to watch James's misery, I'm all for that. And trust me, if Spurs lose next week.
Patreon podcasts this week are a review of Tottenham tomorrow. We're doing our Q&A with them today, which we do every Monday.
Yeah.
Tottenham review tomorrow, plus preview of our intended transfers for the game week, etc. I'm going to do my Ask James as a private stream this week for them, and I'm going to release that as an audio just for patrons. There's a good reason for that, which I'll come on to. Thursday, we're doing a quiz, A to Z of Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
Friday, we'll do obviously the preview of 35 as well.
Yep, indeed.
For everybody else, obviously you've got this today. What have we got tomorrow? So many fucking podcasts
Clash of the Correspondents.
Clash of the Correspondents. Norwich, West Ham tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Wednesday, Sky. Thursday, Planet FPL special and Wigan Athletic, because that's mad, and we're looking into the detail of that. Friday, what do we normally do on a Friday?
Friday was actually a full podcast this week, sir.
Oh yeah, full review like this one again. I'm so lost on days at the moment.
Yeah, there is a lot of content that we've got to record and have ready for you this week. So do stay tuned for all of that. We normally do that at the end, but now I think we've done it in the middle. Should we do a few Twitter questions for the people?
Hit us something with some stuff we haven't covered.
Indeed. I'll try and pick a few questions, James, from non-patrons, and the ones that have been asked from people that are already patrons we'll cover in our Patreon Q&A special, guys. So if you are a patron listening and thinking we didn't get to your questions, well, that will be that. FPL Vader, why hasn't Suj joined the Patreon League? That's a good point. I don't even know the code.
You numpty.
I don't know the code. I need to get the code off you, James.
No, I'm not going to cover any patron question about Patreon.
Jimmy Mac and Cheese, how close to the end of the season do you think it gets to stop being worth taking hits?
It doesn't. I took a -8 in game week 38 last season, and it paid off good for me.
Yeah.
So, if you're in the right zone, you need to do it. There isn't a cutoff.
For me, though, it does get harder to justify that decision because I'm bench boosting. So I'm talking like for me, for the bench boost, I really need a player to return to justify taking a hit to get them onto my bench for the bench boost, because -4 and then they don't return. That's effectively a -2 and a quarter of my bench boost wasted as well. So that's why I may not take a hit to try and sort out my bench boost, but long it out a little bit.
Do you know what? People can get overly obsessed at the moment with chips. It's a mistake that I've made in the past. And I think there is a danger for usage and other players of thinking, I've still got the bench boost, I need to fix my bench, and forgetting what's going on in the rest of your team. There is a strong danger of that happening.
Yeah, agreed. FPL Lobster. Who do you chaps think will be the most expensive striker next season?
Aguero.
Yeah, I think Aubameyang's going to be up there with him. I'm assuming he signs his contract with Arsenal. They don't lose him in the summer or whatever else. I think it's two consistent seasons now. Aubameyang is going to be up there. I think Aubameyang could be a 12 million, 11 and a half, 12 million strikeout.
Don't see it. Aubameyang is on course to replicate exactly what he did last season, basically. So I don't see where there'd be a difference in price.
Aguero's on course to do less.
And he's also with Aubameyang, never been on course. He's never had like mass owners. He's never been in a position where he's had 40% owners or something either, right? So I think Aubameyang would come in at the same price. And I know what you're saying about
Aguero's going to drop then, surely.
No, but it's Aguero's capability. And it's the knowing that when it comes round, people want him and people want to captain him. Correct, yes. And so Arsenal, from that perspective, if you look at a generalisation, I think things are about to get better for them, by the way, under Arteta. But they're not better off than they were last year, right? And Aubameyang's not going to outperform what he did last year. Therefore, he's probably going to be the same price, mate.
And you never know. One of the attacking midfielders might get reclassified and pushed further forward. Martial might get pushed into a forward role now.
Do you know what? That's a good point to comment on that. Because a few people have, it probably doesn't cover anyone's question. But there's a lot of talk at the moment of reclassification of players for next season. I'd see it like this. So people are working on the Salah Mane thing as in they're still midfielders, right? For me, those two should be classified as forwards. But there's a lot of people thinking at the moment that, say, for example, Rashford will be a midfielder next year and things like that. Now, in terms of reclassification, as it would stand right now, Martial's going to be a forward, Richarlison's going to be a forward, and there probably won't be a lot of change. People thinking Aubameyang might be a midfielder next year. That's not happening. Basically, Aubameyang and Rashford are centre forwards. Their number 9's playing out of position, reverse OOP. Yeah. That's what it is. If Martial gets injured, Rashford's going back up front, mate, for example. So they'll stay as forwards, in my opinion. There won't be huge amount of changes in terms of midfield forward. I do think that it would be better for the game if Salah and Mane were forwards.
Yeah.
But it's not in the interest for the game makers to change it because of the extra points that those players get as midfielders.
And then, I mean, justifying their price as forwards would be harder than justifying their price as midfielders.
It would be much better for the game. And people go, no, I'm going to get less points. Listen, for the game, it'd be much better if Salah and Mane were forwards.
A few people are asking about, here's a question from Pete Davis. There's a lot of, should we ditch Liverpool assets? Do it at your peril, in my opinion. I still think they're going to be going for the points record and what have you. And when they do click, once this hangover is worn off, I think that there's points to be had. And there was points to be had for the highly owned guys, right? Clean sheets for all of the defensive lot, a goal for Mane and an assist for Salah. And another week, it flips it the other way around. So ditch them at your peril. Who to get rid of?
One thing I would say, just to cut in if I can, Suj.
Yeah, do it, of course.
Salah Mane would not be at my priority list to captain this week. I mean, I'd be going City and Manchester United first before I went for them. But yeah, come off. Yeah, I mean, no. No. There is a chance, I think, that there might be some rotation for them this week. That's part why I say I wouldn't captain them either. I think, but a good example, take Robertson. Right, Robertson was absolutely shocking again yesterday. He's got me to 5 points. It will do. He's running around like a headless chicken, and the conditions of football have changed. It's not suitable for Andy Robertson to be doing that at the moment. Calm down and play football a little bit. He's either still drunk or he's trying too hard, one or the other. He just doesn't look himself at the moment. But James Milner's not fit, right? So who plays at left back? He probably just keeps playing. It's not like... What would they do? Play Lovren at centre half and Gomez at left back? I don't think they really want to do that, right?
Yeah,
Trent would be more a worry for a rotation.
Potentially. And we'll leave the last question of the show to Pete Davis at Davis Station 73. Who to get rid of first? Mount, Son, or Dominic Calvert-Lewin?
Mount.
Had a couple of set pieces and what have you. Chelsea don't seem to have a really good set piece taker.
What, like Willian?
Well, with some of the other teams, you know who's going to take it. Willian's been doing okay, but I don't know if
I think Willian will take the majority of them, won't he? Is how it stands at the moment.
Yeah, but I don't think his conversion rate is going to be anywhere near as good as some of the better free kick takers out there.
Could you justify having Mount over Pulisic at the moment, or even William to put it that way?
No. But then Son, it's Mount, Son, or DCL. Okay, take DCL.
You're not. You're probably really not, unless you see something tonight. You're probably really not selling Son before.
With Chelsea's next three, I'd rather have Mount in my FPL team than Son.
Really? What value? No object, nothing.
Yeah.
You'd rather have Mount than Son
for the next three Chelsea fixtures? Yeah, I think so.
Nah.
I don't see enough from Tottenham to justify it.
Mason Mount will not outscore Heung-min Son over the next 3 games.
Oh, he said it there. Controversial statements.
No, the other thing with Mount is you've got Loftus-Cheek, you've got Barkley.
They do have rotation issues there where they are moving.
And I feel the 2 wide players, Pulisic and Willian, they'd be a bit mad to play without either of them at the moment. So there's not a chance of them getting shunted out in those areas. So they're going to go into the central areas. Jorginho has hardly played. He brought Gilmore on the other day. Kante's potentially got an injury. They've got Kovacic as well. So there's too much rotation issue in there for me.
Strength and depth. There we go. I'm going to end the show, James, with one last controversial statement that I'd love your opinion on. And this is what I thought after watching the West Ham Newcastle game. And I didn't say it when we ran down the games, but I was thinking it. I would rather have Miguel Almiron in claret and blue than Felipe Anderson or Manuel Lanzini or Pablo Fornals.
Right.
Agree or disagree?
Agree.
Yeah. And we've given Almiron so much grief over the season for it. But from what I saw, at least with him, I feel like he puts a shift in and he tries.
The reason Almiron's got so much grief is because of that. Because we've always used it with the flip of saying, by the way, kid's playing all right, actually, he just can't finish. That's how it's always been. He's just scored 2 in 2. Takes him up to a monstrous total of 4 league goals for the season. Yeah, I like him. That's one of the reasons we kept digging it out and it became funny, was because every week he'd be having great chances because he was playing all right and getting in the right positions and taking people on and being direct. It's something very, very likeable about Almiron and St. Maximin as footballers.
Yeah, I was looking at him with envious eyes when we've got such weak attacking midfield options, but there we go. To all you listeners, we'll wrap up the show here. We tried to keep it as short as we potentially could, but you know how it is. We go on a little bit. Do stay tuned for all of the other content that we've got coming at you this week, thick and fast, whether you're listening on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify. If you haven't heard the spiel already, hit subscribe and get the notification bell on the go as well. And we'll be back at you with a bunch more content. Anything else to add, James?
Nah, all good. Good luck this week.
Nice one. Good luck to the Spurs and Everton fans tonight, and get your team set for the Tuesday deadline. It's a 5 o'clock deadline, is it, James?
5 o'clock. Yeah, I'll be streaming on YouTube at 4 o'clock.
There we go. Other than that, stay safe as always, and ciao for now.
Be nice to each other. Good luck, everyone. Cue music, please, man, child.